Okay. Yeah. Hello. Uh, I'm sitting over here, and the reason why I'm sitting over here is because I can't sit over there. And the reason for that is because there's someone sitting over there. Hello. Hello. Yeah, looks familiar. Yeah. You're not used to seeing me in a t-shirt, are you? Uh, actually, no, I'm not. Usually you're in stuff like this. No, no, I didn't think so. So yes, given it is Pride Month, so I thought here's a rainbow flag. I'll just drape myself into it. Oh, good grief. You look more like you're going for a haircut. Shut up! Ooh, sorry. Well, well, with a mop top like that. Then again, I do look like I need one, don't I? But shut up! It's warm. Anyway, I shall throw off the. I'll keep it there like that. So basically, what this is for is. Basically, what this is for is that it's for Pride Month. So I'm interviewing this lovely fellow uh, for, I suppose, celebration, for want of a better word, to do with Pride Month. So I may as well ask the usual question: how long have you known? Get asked that all the time. How long have you known? I don't know. You tell me. Well, how long? Smart ass. No, alright. Well, how long have I known? That was the question, wasn't it? Yeah. So how long have I known? Well, well, for as long as I can remember, really. It's I've always just kind of known. Never really questioned it though. It was just something that was always in my head, and that I just thought, oh, okay, it was everyone else that had the problem. I didn't have a problem. It was everyone else. You know, um, I'd be at school and I would hear all sorts of. I think this was in the 80s, so I had to sort of, on top of that, had to put up with the old HIV, gay plague thing, and then yeah, it was just something that. How can I put it? Um, so, were you bullied at school? So, a lot of guys were. So, were you bullied at school? Actually, yes, I was bullied at school. There was a friend of mine who I still keep in contact with, and this one of the school bullies came up and was going, you're gay because you hang around with blah. And I'm like, hang on a second. So you're saying I'm gay because I hang around with that person. Yes. Okay. No. Okay. So going by your logic, because you think he's gay, therefore you think I'm gay. So going by your logic, doesn't that make you gay? Why you? Well, just saying. Backed off and left me alone after that. Maybe he was inadvertently outing himself. I don't know. But yeah, school was, there were always sort of rumours and people trying to, and I just, you know, um, I just went about my business. So, uh, but did you have a school crush? Yeah, I did actually. It was a fellow. I was good friends with too. But he always kept giving me mixed signals. I couldn't quite work out what was going on there. It was like one time he'd be all kind of, "Ooh," and then the next time he'd be like, hmm. So I had no idea. So I just, but then I got an early example as to what Mum was like towards homosexuality. Really? So what happened? He used to come round to my place, and he'd found out that his mum was sick with cancer. She was a very young woman too, so it was, you know, and he was really quite upset. And so we're in my bedroom. So like he used to have I nearly said disposable bed, but you know, sort of foldable bed or whatever. It's not exactly disposable. And he'd be in there, and I'd be on my bed. You know, just they'd go parallel. And so I was turned towards him, and his head was like that. So I was turned towards him. And the next thing I see or hear is Mum opening up my bedroom door, and she thought she found us in a compromising position. Oh well, I will tell you. No. And she was threatening to out him to his grandma. Oh no, that's awful. That's low. And he was like, no, 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 I'm not like this. And it's sort of one of those things that, well, it does more harm than good, doesn't it? Because Lord knows what it did to his head. And it kind of had me thinking, okay, this is not the reaction you want. No, it's not. You want something a bit better than that. So, you know, so it kind of had me a little bit, ooh, there's the closet. So, yeah, we were in contact off and on, but I haven't seen or heard of him for about 26 years. I've always wanted to know what's happened with him, but far too much time has passed. Could we ever rekindle anything? Actually, I'll get you to ask that. With that in mind, would you want to rekindle anything? Really? I don't think so. Hmm. Next question. So, what actually made you decide to come out? Actually, I didn't decide it. The decision was made for me. Really? Yeah, really. Well, it was. I had no choice in it. Well, you have no choice in the way you were born, but I kind of didn't have much of a choice in the way it happened either. And I suppose you want me to tell you about that? Yes, please, if that's okay. Okay, since you ask so nicely. More flies with honey, I think is what they say. Oh, it just depends on the type of flies, doesn't it? And the type of honey, I suppose. That's not what I meant. Mm, sorry. I'd met somebody, and no, we got to know each other, and I thought there was sort of something there. And I went back to his place, and he said he wasn't feeling very well. So I thought, well, I can't leave somebody in the lurch like that. So I'll ring Mum and say, look, I'm just going to stay overnight because he's not well, and I don't want to, I don't want to leave him by himself and all of that sort of stuff. And then I'll be back in the morning. I just want to make sure. Oh, well, we all know where this is going to go, don't we? Since I've done that reaction before. Well, well, and it was just a complete diatribe. I can't really even remember most of what was said. And but one thing I do remember saying is that I'm still the same person. Oh, I was accused of being on drugs. That's right. So you're on drugs. And of course, the temptation is to sort of do the Keith Richards, like, yes, but probably wouldn't have been a good idea. No, no, no. So instead, I said, I'm still the same person. It's just this new thing you know about me. I'm not on drugs. I'm not on anything. It's just this. Oh goodness me, and just went nuts. The cops came to the door, and the whole just this massive brouhaha. And then it had me in the thing of, well, I can't go back home because I'm going back home to Cyclone Unknown. So I was kind of, I felt a little bit trapped actually. It's like, well, I can't go back there, so I'm going to have to stay here. And it was just really ridiculous. And it sort of shows how a reaction can affect things for the future. So if mum had have been sort of like, oh, okay, that's lovely. She was never one for dear and darling, but that's lovely. I'll see you in the morning. That's nice of you to be concerned about the welfare of this person. I'll see you in the morning. Fine, great. But with what happened, it kind of put me onto this other path that if you had the choice, you wouldn't want to have taken because the particular person really actually wound up not being a very nice person. No, and I was thinking that I was in Lure. I thought I'd do an Andrea Truth. Lure. And I don't know. I just kind of was a little bit besotted, smitten, whatever it is, whatever term you want to put to it. Is the word epithet? I have an epithet. What's epithet? Oh, I don't know. Sounds like the last name of someone who would do a stunning job of I Will Survive. Excuse me, I've got a cough. Edit. So basically, I got saddled with someone who was a complete prick. Ah, well, we all like pricks, dear. That's not what I meant. Oh, sorry, I was just trying to lighten the mood a bit. Oh well, kudos for the attempt, I suppose. Thank you. I shall continue now. Please do. Okay, I will. Just got to adjust. But, you know, the person, like I said, he was a complete prick. And uh, I had no idea. And very early on, I got an idea as to the actual personality of this person. When he got into an argument with me about nothing, and I got a slap across the face for my daring to talk back. Well, really? Yeah, really. Um, and yeah, hearing that in the background was an absolute carner. The amount of money I spent on all this car stuff that he wanted and everything like that. It was all about what his interests were, nothing to do with mine. If I wanted to go somewhere or see something, we never had the money. If he wanted to go somewhere and see something, oh, all of a sudden I had to pay for it with money I would have preferred to, you know. And I got a loan or something, and he couldn't get it in his name, so I got it in my name, and it just, oh, the interest was ridiculous. But I digress. That's okay. We moved places. We'd moved. Got the hair out of my So we moved a few times. He was a terrible neighbour, and just one of those that would just cause trouble. You can have the loveliest people as your neighbours, but he would still find fault in them. But he would argue about anything. And then early in, I got a job and was always trying to infect my job with his crap and stuff like that. And and even when Dad passed away, he still made it all about him. So it's like I couldn't grieve or anything like that properly. I couldn't do that. But if it was someone to do with him, then it would be like, ah. Um, and so the crux of it was in about the early 2000s, I wound up with chronic fatigue syndrome. Now, if anyone knows about chronic fatigue syndrome, it levels you, it flattens you, and you just, all you want to do is sleep. And so I would be trying to do stuff and it'd get argumentative, which would affect my sleep. There was one time we were at the market. I was up in the car, or I was sleeping in the car. I went down. It took forever. I went down to see what was going on. I'm dragging myself literally just. And I get back and the car's gone. Message comes on the phone that I had to find my own way back. Fortunately, I had the money to be able to do that. But I was wrecked. By the time I got back, I could barely function, and all I wanted to do was sleep. But oh no, no, blah 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 blah, and pardon me, and was often violent. If nothing else, it sort of did teach me how to fight. Um, I remember the very first. He actually got angry at the fact that I was blocking punches because my reflexes. I've not been trained, but my reflexes are actually quite good. And so, and he was getting more and more angry at the fact that nothing was connecting, and all of that sort of stuff. And no, I won't put sound effects in. That's tacky. So yeah, the hearing in this ear has been affected by sort of slaps and stuff like that over the years. Really bad tinnitus. Loud music doesn't help either. So I got really bad tinnitus in this ear, and as I found out when trying to fly a few years ago, my head was wanted to explode. It was just so painful. Um, and yeah, it just was just terrible. Um, I can give many examples. There's, we'd go over to Melbourne, and it's supposed to be a nice time away. Oh no, there'd still be arguments. Um, Though one of my favourite stories on there was where he ordered me out of the car and was like, "Get out and walk to Adelaide." So, okay, gets out of the car, and then realises that I had all the money, I had all the cars, and I had all the money. All he had was the car. So doubles back around and opens the door. And so, oh, you're forgiven, blah, 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 like this. How magnanimous. No? You're forgiven. Blah, blah, blah. And I, no, 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 you wanted me to go back? No, just, I'm only doing what you asked. Oh, well, in that case. So I'm just walking back. I was quite happy to sort of get the bus or a train or whatever back to Adelaide. And comes back around and it's like, oh, you're forgiven. Da, 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 da. So like, oh no, well, I'm just only doing what you asked. Just, oh, because that's how quick the temper was. And came back around the third time, and so I did get in the car because, of course, the thing in the back of the mind is, yeah, but when he does get back, your head's going to be pummeled. That's the thing. I mean, I got a cracked bone in the wrist from when he pushed me over, and I landed badly on my wrist, and oh, that was painful too. Ooh, just thinking about it. And even in cold weather, it still has a bit of radiating pain. That's not fun. So I can give example after example about what it was like, where you couldn't enjoy holidays. Work would be, I'd have to cancel shifts at the last minute because he would just have a hissy fit about something. Now, I work as a carer, and it thankfully didn't affect my work because I just kept saying the car had broken down or whatever. And I think they all sort of knew that my car wasn't, well, the car at that point wasn't very good. And I think they kind of knew there was probably extenuating circumstances as well. Um, so I pretty much lost a job as a result of before I was a carer. So I lost a job as a result of what he was like. So yeah, like I say, there's many stories that I could tell, but I've probably told more than enough. Um, so what wound up happening? Oh, he carked it. Really? Yeah, really. The best thing that ever happened. I suppose I may as well tell that story. Yes, please, if that's okay. Okay. Um, actually, I was out all day, and I started at 8 o'clock in the morning. I had a shift to go all day, and then I had a shower shift that evening. And I generally would stay behind with that shift as well because I knew the people quite well. So we would, um, I'd just get gas bag, and so the hour and a half I think it was would go much longer than that. And so that's why. And I'm thinking, should I duck home and get tea, or should I just get tea at Hungry Jack's or something and just go on to the shift from there? And I thought, no, it's just easier to go straight through rather than double back, which was sort of what I thought. And just, yeah, so it's just easier to do it that way. Fair enough. That's a good idea. So I did the shift, and I got back home, and it would have been about 9 o'clock at night or something like that. I was out for a total of probably 13 hours, something like that. And I got home and it was quiet, and I was like, oh, it was always nice when it was quiet. I'd get home and it'd be like, oh, and I sat at my computer and just doing whatever, probably MySpace. And so I was like, hang on a second, this is a bit too quiet. And then I went in, and there he was in the bed, and sort of roused or tried to, hey, and then sort of looked and just saw that I realised it's like, oh, and it's like, uh, I rang the Ambos, and this is terrible. I'm smiling because I know what I'm going to say. Um, I rang the Ambos and spoke to this lovely lady, and I was like, Dad, he's right there, he was right there. It's like, Dad, and it's like, have you tried giving mouth? Have you tried giving mouth to mouth? His lips are blue, and I suppose we better send someone. That would be a good idea. So that's what they did. They got an ambulance and carted him off, and yeah, so that was I can't remember what I did that night. Actually, was it yeah, I honestly really can't remember what happened directly after. I remember seeing the barouche going out. Can't remember what you did that night. That's okay. There's some things are just meant to be. Maybe it's your brain deciding, nope, don't want to go back there. So that's okay. That's very true, and that was an example. So what'd you do after that? Well, I guess there was a period of mourning. What about the evening? Ah, those I spent doing something else. Oh. Yeah, so After that was a bit kind of, um, I suppose numb. I think because some of that was the shock more than anything of what I'd found. Um, but it was also I also quickly realised that I could do all these things and not have to worry about fears of reprisals, and I could go away on a holiday, and it was just fantastic to go to somewhere like Melbourne and not have to put up with, well, crap and aforementioned stories. And I reconnected with a friend of mine. So, because we fell out of contact, because I guess he got sick and tired of meeting up with us and hearing the same old crap. You know, and it always, again, was always about him. So we reconnected, which was really good. Um, and I just sort of spent a nice period of time just doing stuff for myself and not again. So I would even sit there just appreciating the quiet. So I really would. I would just sit there and it'd be like, oh, that's so nice. Expects to hear a screeching car. No, that's how unusual for this area. Jeez, that's a bit of a worry. Um, do I need protection? Um, okay, I'll put him back now and you can continue. Ooh, I think he's just gone around the block. Um, okay, well, please continue. But I also used to go to the local, I shall call it, and I got to know a few people there, and it's always sort of like it was a good social thing for me. Hi, hi, Robbie, hi. And I actually met my partner there. Really? I'm saying that a lot, aren't I? Really? Yes, I am. Really? Yeah, actually, I even had a dream about it. Ooh, tell me more, tell me more. Well, it wasn't a summer night for starters. But I'll tell you more, tell you more. Okay, so tell us about this dream. Sounds interesting. Yes, I shall tell you about the dream. I had a dream. Anytime I have a dream with Dad in it, means something's going to happen. So I had this dream where we were sitting at dinner or something like that, and this person was trying to get my attention, and Dad said, go after him. I'll still be here." And so, oh, all right. So I went to try and find this person, but he'd gone, and went back to the table and spoke to Dad and said, "Well, he's gone." And Dad said, "Don't worry, you'll get another chance." And what had happened was that the fella had gone to the place the week previously, didn't really like it, but didn't quite know why he went back the next week. And I'd had that dream, say, on the Wednesday. So he went there, I had the dream, and then he went then. So, yeah, make of that what you will. But, well, that's great. So how did that all go? Complete opposite. What? Complete opposite? Yeah, that's what I said. That's where I heard it. Well, shows you were listening, I suppose. I'm always listening. I guess you have to since we're so close. That's true. But I suppose I should elaborate. The complete opposite. Well, you know what I told you about before with screaming arguments in Melbourne or whatever. With this particular one, we go to Melbourne, we'd actually enjoy what we were doing and we would just enjoy each other's company and stuff like that. There was a couple arguments, and one of which was, well, I stuffed up something completely and I regret it to this day. And even though so much water has passed under the bridge, I think about it and still get the guilt, even now. And but that's just it. We could do anything happily. So there was no worries about me having to go to work at short notice, and finding the car mysteriously missing and things like that. There was none of that. Complete opposite. But the other thing is that it also gave me the confidence that I was badly lacking. I mean, I still had the humour and I still got the quick humour and all that sort of stuff. But there are other things I had complete confidence in, and one of them was singing. I'd sing in the car, but you wouldn't get me singing out in front of a group of people anymore. I used to love doing that. I was in choir at school. I used to love drop of a hat. But for whatever reason, I became very introverted when it came to all of that, and so it gave me the confidence to sing. Ooh, well, can you sing something for us now? Makes it sound like I'm in school or something like that. Oh, if you don't want to, okay. If you really want me to, I shall sing. All right. 3, 2, 1. What was that? Well, there's another crack in the roof. How's your hearing? Yeah, tuneful, wasn't it? I can do it. No, I don't want that to crack. Well, it was full of something, but tune was not one of them. Okay. Oh, what shall I sing? Um, Listening to here in my car, I go around the world. Bit of Gary Newman. I know I've got Cliff Richard down this. We're all going on a summer holiday, no more worries for a week or two. Fun and laughter on a summer holiday, no forgotten the words. Bit awful of that too. Okay, well that was nice. Yeah, of course you'd say that. Well, not necessarily. You saw my reaction before. So, but anyway, we wound up splitting, and wasn't acrimonious at all, and we still remain very good friends. You split, but it can happen, you know. Well, obviously in this case, I guess it does. Yeah, and in this case, it did. Well, that's good to hear. You know, like you said, complete opposite. So, yeah, well, complete opposite. So, is there anything else you'd like to sort of say, add, whatever? Oh, anything to say for Pride Month? Well, Pride Month within yourself goes for the full year. It's not just 1 month, it's 12 months, the entire time. And things are a lot better now than what they used to be. Goodness me, it would be, yeah, there's a lot more support groups, a lot more understanding, and all of that. Yeah, you're always going to get your conservative nut jobs. They're almost par for the course, really. Um, par for. And but as you can tell, I try not to let them. I mean, every now and then I do go through one of those sorts of, oh, why was I born? What? Why did I have to have all this stuff? You know, I did an equal love rally once and was carrying a sign back, and I had a carload of idiots sort of calling out choice words to me. And well, I'm not going to use the words, but suffice to say, my response, well, the response I wanted to make was, no, sorry, I don't do water sports with bunches of twigs. But I thought, maybe no. I just, yeah, whatever. See you guys. And of course, they were driving away anyway. You know, the real gutful thing to do. So, um, but there's a lot more supportive people out there. There's a lot more support groups out there. Facebook's great for finding things that suit your niche as well. Sort of like with your sexual orientation, and just so much more out there that it's a lot of it I wished I would have had when I was still struggling with my sexuality. Um, Gosh, I remember my first time, and I was racked with guilt, completely racked with guilt, and burst into tears. And I thought, what do I do? This can't be right. This is and so I decided to ring Lifeline, and I mentioned it to this rather sort of old-fashioned sounding lady, and she effectively was along the lines of, "Oh, don't worry about it, darling. You know, it's a phase. You'll get over it, and all of that." Oh, it's not a phase. All these years, if it's a phase, it's a very, very long one. Ooh,
Ah.
what were we talking before about? And and that's the thing. And I never did, by the way, have a girlfriend. I thought that having a girlfriend would sort of cure things, but I'm glad it didn't happen that way, because it would have messed me up even more and probably hurt somebody really, really nice. Um, so that's the thing. I think worst, I probably can say I dodged a bit of a bullet with that one. That's fine. I understand where you're coming from with that one. There's nothing wrong with saying something like that at all. You were able to be relieved of an obnoxious situation. So no need to apologise or feel bad for a comment like that. Yeah, there's just, like I said, more support networks. Just um, get on your Google. That's the good thing about Google, and there's just so much more out there. But yes, you get on your Google. So, oh, I just knocked it. See, that's what happens when you get on your Google. But you're right, you've got a point, because Google can, if you're curious about something or whatever, it's a great search engine. Well, there's a few, but Google is the main one to answer any of the questions you may be feeling, or even connect with people you think you're alone, and oh, there is somebody out there like me, or like what I'm going through or whatever. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Google is a good way of finding out things. I know it's a very obvious statement to make, but sometimes it does get overlooked too. Sometimes the most obvious isn't always the most obvious. I suppose, yeah, make you feel happier within yourself with who you are, and all of that sort of thing. You didn't have a choice with the way you were born. You were born the way you were born. And for anybody to tell you that it's a choice, well, the only choice that's come into that is how their attitude is toward you. They've chosen to take that attitude. That's the only choice that's involved in that argument. And all the rest is yourself and is organic. No choice at all. One of the guys that I worked with once turned around and said, you can't help the way you were born. I was born without legs. Do you think I had a choice in the matter? No, I didn't. So you can't help the way you were born. And what can you say to that? That's pretty much it. Well, thank you for sharing that. So, like, I really appreciate that. Hopefully, that's been of some help. You're welcome. Yep, you're welcome. But on top of that, is there still anything you'd like to add, or? there's probably so much more I could have said, but heck, you know, this has probably gone on long enough. So we'll just kind of squeeze it a little bit. And hopefully it's not a lemon, because then it will be bitter, and there's nothing worse than... Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate you speaking to me. I realise that some of that probably might have been a bit difficult, but I really, really, really appreciate the fact that you've done that. So thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much. You did very well. It was really nice talking to you. Oh, likewise. So I guess on that note, you may as well have the honour of signing off. Oh, I have the honour of signing off? Thank you very much. Alright. Yeah, I'll rack off now. Okay, I'm going to have a good rack. Okay. Well, hopefully this did something for you. What a terrible choice of words, but oh well. And if you did, there's all sorts of other stuff that I've got floating around this channel and stuff like that. And hopefully you can sort of have a bit of a watch of that and enjoy that. And if you did, do the likes and subscribes. Oh, what's up? Do the likes and subscribes and the bells and the whistles and first or the front. Always got to do that. Got to do a bit of a refrain of I Will Survive. Gets back to what I was saying about singing before, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Yeah, thanks for that. I'll do a bit more. First or the front, I was petrified, thinking I always forget those words too. Alright, will you please take care of yourself? Hopefully I shall see you in the next one. Alright, thank you very much for watching. Ciao! We done yet? Yep. We're done. Oh, thank goodness for that, I am too. Oh, glad you feel the same way.